500 miles to the north of Nashville on the south side of Chicago, another musical revolution was brewing. A young piano player and songwriter named Thomas Dorsey started recording blues songs under the name Georgia Tom. And in 1928, he had a surprise hit with a racy song called It's Tight Like That. Dorsey formed a group called the Hokum Boys, and Hokum Blues became extremely popular. He made thousands, but when the Depression hit, he lost it all when his bank folded. This devastation, combined with his own serious illness, caused him to rethink his music. He merged the techniques of the blues with the message of salvation and began to compose masterpieces like Take My Hand, Precious Lord. Soon churches all over Chicago and elsewhere were singing a new type of song, and Dorsey was known as the father of black gospel music.
Down through the ages, gospel, what? What did they say it was? You mean to tell me you don't know that? Good news? On down through the ages, gospel was good news. Now, if you don't know that, I'll throw you out here myself.
The modern gospel music resulting from Dorsey's innovations is still sung at the National Convention of Gospel Choirs that Dorsey founded over 60 years ago.
Gospel music is exciting. It has spiritual fervor.
You can't sing gospel music really unless you've had an experience with the song that you're singing about.
Dorsey comes out of Atlanta, Georgia. At the time he leaves Atlanta, he's the most popular sort of red light district honky-tonk piano player. He goes to Chicago, and he is actually making blues and jazz records and having some success. At the same time this is going on, Dorsey is struggling with the sacred condition of his soul. But he has a condition, and his condition is whether or not he can make a living, because he writes the song, and it's a church song, and then he tries to sell it. It is not until he writes, I was standing by the bedside of a neighbor, and it's sung in the National Baptist Convention and becomes a hit, that he understands that there is a market.
Kindly take this message to the other side.
Then he found the only way to get his music out was to begin to travel. And when he began to travel and people began to listen, they said, well, this sound, you had an audience of people listening, and then that audience of people singing. And then when he traveled on further, somebody else said, gee, I'd like to do that too. People enjoying what he was doing, and they became followers. And it grew and grew and grew.
Come on, let's hear the national anthem of gospel singers everywhere. Lift your voice. Precious Lord, take my hand. Come on. Let me stand. What about it?
Dr. Dorsey combined his learning of music of blues and the hymns. That was what made it radical back then, and that's why a lot of people consider him the father of gospel music, because he was bold enough to bring together that blues sound along with the gospel hymn, and therefore you had came gospel music, a new sound.
In the last 10 years of Dr. Dorsey's sickness, he wrote a verse that's not printed in any print. Precious Lord, I love your name.
when I look back from whence I came.
To be in the presence of the man who wrote these songs that were internationally sung caused you to be in awe that here I am in the presence of a man that has touched the lives of countless people all across the world.
Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me on.
She's a fine bird, don't she warble as she flies? She never hollers cuckoo to the forefay